Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Whatever part of the world you're currently listening to our video blog and eventually a podcast. This is actually an offshoot of my earlier podcast. Anyway, I thought I'd go out for a quick walk and discuss some of the stuff that's been going on around the world, but I want to kind of focus in on one subject, particularly on this online, cowardice activities around the world, where you have a lot of, evil, nefarious, and cowardice characters out there attacking people they know nothing about, and basically spewing hate and bigotry online and in a guise and behind the veil of the social media platform and overall in general and the internet, right? But I'm not just talking about these, cowards per se that don't put their real names online and don't reveal their pictures on their social media page. I'm talking about those cowards that monitor other people online and basically, try to interfere with their lives. These are the bigger cowards, other than just, the ones that post hate and, bigotry and all sort of stupidity online. I'm talking about the ones that are trying to interfere with people's lives off of what they find online. Now, these are the major cowards that I'm talking about, okay? And they ought to be persecuted and thrown in jail if I can have my way, because I've been reading a lot of these reports where, various nefarious characters and evil characters out there are basically, interfering with the lives of real people. They monitor them online. They do all sorts of very unethical and evil things online, trying to, inflict harm on people. And when you inflict harm, knowingly inflicting harm on people is a legal offense and should be persecuted in the court of law. When you're actively affecting people's lives or negatively, affecting them, then the law should intervene. And therefore, I figure I talk about that on the first half of this video blog, and then I'll briefly talk about what happened in Vancouver 2 days ago. But anyway, I just wanted to basically, discuss these cowardice activities online, because now that social media and the internet is global in nature, millions and millions of people now are participating on the platform, and as you would also expect, those evil, nefarious characters will also be out there inflicting harm on innocent people, because in their minds they think that they're never going to be found out, or there's no way to, you know, reveal who they really are. And so that emboldens them to inflict all sorts of harm on people that are, you know, basically just using the online platform for their own benefit. Okay? So anyway, I just thought I briefly talk about that, because it's becoming so prevalent that, you know, so many people's lives are being disrupted by evildoers online. And as I previously mentioned in my last video blog while I was walking, that evil have been exponentially doubled because of the social media platform and because of the online environment. The evil, nefarious characters out there are basically active more than ever to inflict havoc and disrupt people's lives. So I see all these comments here from Istanbul, Turkey. How are you? Istanbul, Turkey was a beautiful place when I was last there. I enjoyed it, visiting. I look forward to returning to Istanbul. Anyway, so what I was saying is that because of the, you know, social media platform and internet today, that many people that are evildoers and nefarious, corrupt individuals are flocking online and, you know, going on social media platforms to inflict harm on other people. Okay? And it wasn't just, you know, those people that don't want to reveal who they are online. It's not just the people that, you know, won't share their profile picture or put down their real name. I'm talking about evildoers, where they go online and basically look up people and do their very best to inflict damage and harm on other people online. That's the kind of nefarious evildoers I'm talking about. So, yeah, people need to be very careful what you post online and be vigilant of people that you interact with online. Again, as I mentioned in my previous video blog, there are more evil people today, okay, walking this earth than ever in human history. Forget about all the World War I's and World War II's in the past. They have been exponentially, you know, multiplied to the more extent of evildoers, because it's so easy for them to go online and on social media platforms to basically inflict harm. That's the reality of today's world, folks. So watch people that are basically monitoring other people. They're the ones that wants to do harm on others. It's a very problematic situation and world that we live in today, folks. With this said, I'm going to transition over to another act of evil, which is, you know, the mowing down of the festival goers in Vancouver, Canada. They had the Filipino Lapu-Lapu, you know, festival in Vancouver, Canada last Saturday. So my parents are from the Philippines, as you all know. And basically what that is, Lapu-Lapu is their national hero who fought against the invaders, the Spanish invaders that sacked, Cebu, one of the cities in the Philippines, and colonized the Philippines. And so they were having a peaceful celebration last Saturday, and lo and behold, some deranged person who simply had nothing else to do and who's hating on people that aren't like him decide to plow down numbers of people with his truck, killing them. The age of those who have died were from 5 years old to 65 years old. Okay, folks. I don't know what kind of evil, this guy harbors in his heart, but to kill, infants and elderlies the way that he killed them is another level of evil. All right, folks. It's so sad and very tragic that people that simply just want to celebrate their heritage and their culture would be killed off on a weekend and a small festival that you would think would have been family friendly. They were having the event in a secluded area away from the bustling and hustling of a major traffic area, but yet the perpetrator sought them out. The guy had a mission. He targeted that group of people, the population, which are the Filipino population in Vancouver, and made sure that he can inflict the most damage. And he did that using his truck. Okay, folks, that's the kind of world we now live in, where evil, nefarious, and extremely cowardice individuals can inflict mass damage to so many people, mass casualties and death with just one swift action. All right, folks. So I want to lift up the families and friends of those who perish. I want to also ask you to also lift them up in your prayer and your thoughts, because most of them were simply not expecting a tragedy like this to happen. On top of that, the cost, the burden on people that these kinds of tragedy happens to. So, with that said, folks, the festival was meant to unite Canadians and Filipinos in the community in Vancouver. They hold them every year, and the whole motivation is for understanding, unity, and friendship. I participated and volunteered to those events. Okay, whenever I have time, I try to volunteer as much as I can, because I believe that friendship, peace, and understanding should be indoors worldwide, so war will not have to precipitate racism, bigotry, hatred could be limited and hopefully done away with. But obviously there are still people out there that are simply evil by nature, and because of their wicked ways they've managed to disrupt lives and communities worldwide. I know what it's like to be a victim and survivor of hate, and that's why I've decided to raise awareness. Okay, I've decided to support, the voices of those that have been victimized by hate, victimized by marginalization, and victimized by evil in this world, because I know what it's like to have to deal with it. I'm a survivor of racism, institutional development. Okay, my civil rights violated and human rights ignored, so I know what it's like. But that doesn't mean that people should not raise awareness. Okay, and this is why I've decided to campaign and promote awareness. Okay, the only way you can combat these kinds of activities and these kinds of behavior against people is to reflect on them, raise awareness. All right, folks. So anyway, going back to what took place in Vancouver, Canada. If you were to look at the whole situation, which there's still a lot being shared online, there are pro sharing and there's some people anti-sharing some of the videos and the stories, because it's a legal story. So people are saying not to share as much information, but to the amount or extent of information that I was able to find, it seems to me that the perpetrator was basically targeting the community. The reason I feel this way is because the event took place in a secluded area. It was away from those bigger streets and location where anybody can just access. You would have had to know exactly the location wherever they were having the event to know where to go. So it was a targeted event. Okay, and on top of that, whatever issue mentally or health issue the guy was having to deal with is secondary. He knew what he was going to do, okay, because he targeted the community and drove his vehicle in the direction of those people celebrating the event. So I was heard in the news that it wasn't premeditated, but if you're driving a truck and you drive towards an event with that truck, then you were thinking about inflicting harm with your truck. Okay, so that's something that I just wanted to kind of reflect on, because I read and heard conflicting, reports regarding the motivation of that perpetrator. But to me, if you get a car, drive to a location that you had intended to drive to, then that's a cause. It's a probable cause that you wanted to go to that destination. And when he arrived there, he floored his gas. So, knowing that if he accelerated, that he would plow right into the population that was on their foot walking around in that area. So he had intended, okay, to kill them. Okay. So I don't know what his overall motivation was, but I do know that he was consumed by hate. Okay, he was engulfed by his evil attitude towards those that aren't like him, and he took it out on innocent people. That's the kind of evil world we live in today, folks, and that's what I had talked about in the past. Yes. So I just want you to understand that because of those cowards online that, harbor hate and inflict harm towards people, because I believe the guy found out about the event online and knew what he was going to do, I hold him accountable for his hatred towards those that aren't like him. All right, folks. Oh, there's a little kid here up ahead, and he's just watching me. He's got his toy, I don't know, it looks like a water gun. He's pointing it at me. So he's looking to soak me with his little gun toy there. But anyway, so that's the reality of today's world, folks. Hey there, little guy. Where do you live? Are you shooting at me? Give me a high five. Give me a high five. High five. What's your name? Timoteo. Okay. You live over there? Okay. Be careful. You don't want to...
Your mom gonna move your money.
Oh, so your mom's looking for work somewhere. Okay, well, you be careful. All right, get back in your yard there. All right. Mucho gusto. So anyway, all right, folks, that's just the reality of today's world. It's become very evil, and there are people hiding online just to do evil things against people they don't know nothing about, never met in person, never interacted with, in real life, but they just decide to inflict harm on people. I mean, I deal with it regularly, but that's because I'm more public. It's easier for people to find online and basically attack me, which I've kind of gotten used to. I mean, you name it, everybody wants to destroy me and everything that they can do to basically inflict harm on me. But that's just the reality of being a person in the public eye, and I'm not even all that well known, but that's just my reality at this point. So anyway, what I was saying is that we're trying to raise awareness and make sure people don't partake in these kinds of nefarious evil activities, because it's so problematic and have destroyed so many lives around the world. Anyway, let me cross this bridge. There's people talking, so
they called me.
Hello.
The old manager. Hey,
Good. How are you, sir?
The old contract
And
manager called.
you know, there's just the reality of today's world. There are evil people out there, and they're trying to wreak havoc. Like I said. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for joining me on my walk today. I'm actually improving with my walk now. I'm not as tired or huffing and puffing as I typically do. I've gotten a little bit more. I've developed some resistance and I guess strength when I build up my cardio exercise. But anyway, folks, yeah, so that's basically what I wanted to talk to you guys about. You know, the evil doers online that monitor other people and hide, you know, in veil of the internet or social media platform. And how this tragedy in Vancouver, Canada manifested itself via the single evil act of one individual that harbors hate in his heart. So when I started my campaign several years ago, I was actually silenced. People didn't want me to talk about hate. People didn't want me to talk about my own experiences because they don't want to face, you know, that kind of reality. They don't want people to know that hatred and racism and marginalization of people still exists still to this day, and is mostly preserved and protected. It's just one of those things, you know. People want to harbor hate and they want to harbor, you know, racism, and that's why it's well protected in our society, unfortunately, you know. And so what do? One, at least what I've done, is to raise awareness. Second, provide a solution, which is what I'm doing now by raising awareness. And third, revisit the information so people will not forget about it. Okay? So you raise awareness, you campaign for it, and keep re-educating a population in order to combat racism, hatred, and marginalization of those people that typically don't have access to any power. They remain voiceless in society, and people are silencing them, especially those that are powerful. So folks, that's the reality of today's world, and this is why, you know, I continue to do what I do. I've been attacked many times online, even over the phone. I was, you know, somebody contacted me over the phone, started yelling at me, cursing me out. I had no idea who he was. So I know I'm being monitored one way or the other. Some people, nefarious evil characters, are monitoring me online and monitoring my phone, you know, signal and conversations. I know that's been my experience for years. I know people are doing it, and I haven't stopped. I know they're doing it now. I wouldn't be surprised if people that are watching this video blog are out there trying to inflict harm on me, and, you know, do everything and anything they can do to silence my voice. I wouldn't be surprised. But guess what? I'm still gonna keep on doing what I've been doing for several years now, because this is not about me. You know, it's not just about my own experiences. It's about preventing what happened to me to happen to other people. Okay? And in many ways, those that are preventing me from sharing my story and talking about my experiences were the ones that inflict these kinds of hatred on people. They don't want others to be educated, because once people are educated, they'll push back. They won't want to, you know, succumb to abuse of power. And those that abuse their power hate dissent. That's why they are silencing dissent. They're silencing people like me and my message, because they hate being questioned. They hate being, exposed. But guess what, folks? Throughout the years that I've been doing what I've been doing with my campaigns, I know one way or the other I'm making an impact. I know one way or the other that people are listening to my voice. So guess what? I'm not gonna stop. Yes, I realize there's tons of people that wants me to stop. And there's also tons of people that wants me to keep going. Matter of fact, a gentleman, wrote on my YouTube channel to continue what I've been doing because it has helped him, basically recover from his own experiences of racism, marginalizations, and attacks. So that just shows you folks that it doesn't matter how big your followers are or how, well known you are on social media. Share your story, keep your voice available for those that might want to, be inspired by what you're doing. All right, don't be afraid if people ostracize you, because they will ostracize you. They will follow you and, do bad things to you. But don't worry too much about that, because at the end of the day, you're in the right. You've made this world a better place. And those that attack you and ostracize you, they're just going to be jealous haters. That's all they're going to be for the rest of their lives. They're trying to oppress people who wants to make a positive difference in today's world. All right, folks. So, yeah, that's why I'm here now telling you this, because I know that there are people that are within even my circle of friends, or people in my career field, or those that are trying to collaborate with me, and even family members that have been following me all along. So not all of them are in support of what I do, and some of them wants to do harm to me. So that's just the reality of things, folks. When you start upping your game, when you become an influencer, that's the reality of your life. When you're an influencer, there will be people out there that would like you and support you and listen to what you have to say. And there's going to be people out there that are going to be hating on you, jealous of you, and will find a way to negatively impact your life. All right, folks. So with this said, appreciate your time listening to my video blog and walking with me on this very beautiful Monday afternoon. And please do reflect on the things that I talk about and lift up, in prayer, those that were affected in the tragedy in Vancouver. The parents, the uncles, the aunts, the daughters, the sons, the moms, the dads, grandparents of those that were killed. Because there were many of them. They said that casualty now is accounted for at 11 confirmed dead, and they're expecting to increase in numbers in the next hours or so. So imagine that. So senseless. Okay, folks. But unless people with a good heart and clear minds push back and say enough is enough, no more evil, no more wickedness, no more marginalization, these kinds of stuff will keep on continuing. Right, folks? You don't have to be a super influencer. You don't have to have millions of followers. You don't have to be, rich and famous. You don't have to be a head of state to share your values, to share your predisposition, and to share goodness among the people of this world. Embrace your differences, celebrate, your ability to think outside of the proverbial box, and congratulate those that are motivated and interested to make a positive difference in today's world, because the world is going downhill, unfortunately, and it will keep on going downhill because people are becoming complacent. They don't want to contribute to the betterment of the world anymore. Okay, I saw you. I don't know if you guys have been following me for this long, but I started supporting community service when I was still in high school, because I believe that it's up to us to make this world a better place. And I'm not, virtually signaling, I hear this a lot, virtual signaling. No. You take a stand in what you believe in, and you promote what you believe in, and you act on what you believe in. That's not virtual signaling. That's who you are. That's your character. The people that talk about virtual signaling are the ones that are fake. They say, oh, well, you're just virtual signaling about things that you did good. Well, not everybody wants to sacrifice. Not everybody wants to take a stand. Not everybody wants to, share their voice. Not everybody wants to impact the world. So that's just the reality of the narrative of virtual signaling. Don't believe in what they say about virtual signaling. Make a stand, and influence people. Do good in this world. Don't feel like you're doing a disservice by supporting your causes, supporting what you believe in. That's not virtual signaling. That's just your character, who you are. If you are a real, person that isn't interested in promoting yourself. All right, folks. Wow, it doesn't feel like I've been walking for over 30 minutes, but it seems like I've been on foot for over 30 minutes now. But with this said, folks, thank you so much for joining me on my walk. And I always enjoy reflecting on these kinds of subjects when I'm exercising and taking a stroll, because it helps me unwind and forget certain things that is kind of bogging me down. So I appreciate your companionship, and I hope that you guys would share your thoughts with me. Tell me about things that you would like for me to talk about. Let me kind of reflect on my my views pertaining to some of the subjects that is pressing, that you feel is not discussed enough. And let's keep on going, because like I said, until people talk about these kinds of things and discuss issues that are relevant in today's world, we're not talking about 30 years ago. We need influencers around the world that are positive influencers. We need people in this world that will define the future of humanity in a positive way. That's the reality of today's world. We need more influencers because there's a major imbalance between good and evil in today's world. And the evil actors out there are slowly tipping the scale in their favor. They're making it worse for the world. They're making this planet the source of conflict, the source of hardship, the source of discontentment and hatred, jealousy. That's what this world is becoming to look like, folks. So, yes, that's the reality of the world we live in today. And it shouldn't have to be that way. Let's make it a much more generous, loving, peaceful world. But it doesn't happen on its own. You have to work on it, folks. I mean, you don't have to do this full time. You don't have to be an influencer full time or activist full time or, a community service volunteer full time. But you got to do something, all right? And until you do, nothing will change. So with that said, folks, I'm nearing my house, and I appreciate your time walking with me. Thank you for those of you in Turkey, and looks like I'm not sure if this is Ukraine or Russia or Belarus or Moldova, but wherever part of the world you're located, I hope that you've learned something from the material that I am sharing with you, and let me know if there's anything that you would like for me to talk about moving forward. That said, folks, thank you for your time and your companionship. Take care.